All right. My guy.
All right, man.
What's good, bro?
We're live.
We're live.
This is our first episode of the podcast.
The Untitled podcast right now.
That's right. Yeah. If you're listening, we've probably come up with a title by this point.
We absolutely will. Absolutely will.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah. Long to-do list, but we're very excited to be here. Yeah. It's always a good hang. Yeah, man. I didn't tell you this.
What's good?
But I figured that I would read the message that's on my tee to start us off today because it's incredibly apropos.
Oh my God, let it rip.
How strange that nature does not knock and yet does not intrude. I'd like to politely disagree with that.
How strange, say it again?
How strange that nature does not knock and yet does not intrude.
Bang.
Yeah.
That's poetry.
That's by Emily Dickinson, man.
Dickinson.
She's
got another poem that was pretty sick. She said, I have it on an Instagram caption. She was like, it was like, nature is a haunted house, but art is a house that tries to be haunted. Something like that.
Wow.
Whoa.
I'm sure if I understood that, that would be incredibly profound.
What does that mean?
What does that mean, Emily?
Yeah, she was something, bro.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about camping.
Let's talk about camping.
We went camping.
Once. Hiking a couple times.
That's right.
I mean, we're novice hikers.
Yes.
I think we learned that.
Let the record show.
Dude. Oh my God. I mean, that when I'm looking at the 2024 highlight reel, bro, those two days are top of the list.
Yeah, there really were two big kind of nature moments that we had this year. I would say.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of smaller moments around it, but, you know, two that are kind of worth talking about. I would say.
I mean, the first trip, we went to the Smoky Mountains.
That's right.
And I'm glad we went. That trip was sick.
Yeah.
And we became really close. Like after that, I feel like we were already tight, but and I did a lot of recon for that. I was like, dude, let's go camping. I was trying to go camping for a while. And you were like, let's send it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I planned out a couple of the hikes.
I feel like before we get into like, you know, day of, we got to talk about the prep. Because here's the thing, we're both people, as I'm sure many of you are, that really like to buy stuff to encourage us to do the thing that those items were made for.
100%.
Right. You know, we buy the shovel before we have the need to dig a hole.
Right.
But once we have the shovel, we'll maybe dig the hole.
I snapped as far as the shopping went.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing about Gil. Gil and I have very opposite schedules. Right. He's a bartender. I'm a musician. We work kind of weird hours. So there will be periods of time where we don't see each other in person for a couple days. But the way I know that Gil is alive is if Amazon packages are showing up at the house. Right. That's kind of his sign of life.
Oh, dude, I'm a degenerate. Oh, my God.
And during this particular time, I feel like it was more than Amazon packages. It was like you were buying things.
I was mobbing a Dick's. I got a Yeti cooler.
Yeah.
I got a Yeti bag.
Mm-hmm.
Shit that I didn't really need, but I was like, I'm one of those people that I'm a little bougie a little bit, kind of.
You like nice things.
I do like nice things. And I feel like, you know, if I earn money, I can, you know, buy whatever the fuck I want. But, But yeah, so I get the Yeti, I got sleeping bags, all kinds of bullshit.
Right.
And yeah, it was fucking, we didn't have a tent. We had to borrow that.
Yeah, right. We get everything we need, but, you know, the actual most important thing.
Right. Yikes.
So we go to our roommate, Zoe. Shout out Zoe.
Shout out Zoe. And she has this 10-person tent, and we go, okay, that'll be big enough. Great. So at this point, we have all of this crap, right? And none of it has any scratches on it.
Right. This trip is going to be the maiden voyage for a lot of equipment.
Oh yeah. Oh, we got the grill, bro.
The grill.
I forgot about the grill.
Okay.
The grill.
I know it feels like we're kind of rambling on the prelude of this story, but this is a very essential part of the story.
Thanks.
So we got a grill, right? As two men approaching their quarter life crisis do. And did we buy it in person? Doesn't matter.
No, we got it online.
Got it online. Okay.
On Scoop, I think. Yeah.
Awesome. So the grill is sitting in our living room a couple of nights before we leave. And I'm kind of getting ready for bed. It's pretty late. I'm walking around the bathroom and I'm going in this room and that room, whatever. And I don't think that Gil knew that I was up or doing anything or,
No, I must not have. I talked to myself, dude.
Right. And I hear you kind of pacing around the living room, and then there's a long pause, and then I just hear him go, grill.
Oh, I'm a freak, dude. I don't know. Nature.
I don't really know how to describe why that's super funny.
I opened it up, and I was just like, I was pumped to have it. And
dude.
Grill. I was fired up to use it, dude.
Yeah, man. And use it we did.
I'm glad you heard that. That's become a lethal inside joke between us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We won't even say hello to each other. I'll just walk by you and be like, grill.
Oh, my goodness. So, get back to where you were. I had to interject with the grill story.
Absolutely. Yeah. Money story.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what I was talking about. Yeah, we got the grill.
We've got all our stuff at this point. We got all our
shit.
It's time to go.
Yeah. We caught the Rustin concert the night before?
Yeah, Rustin Kelly.
Yeah.
We saw him at Terminal West. Yeah, that was a great show.
That was dope. Yeah, we got up early. We packed up the whip. The Subaru. Yeah. It was a tight fit.
But we made it work.
We sent it. Got some breakfast. Yep. Dude, the drive-in was fire.
The drive was incredible.
The drive-in was fire, and I appreciate you whipping.
Yeah, man.
It was, I mean, we picked up the cameras. We were like, let's get disposable cameras because that'd be funny.
Right.
And it was.
I don't know. The drive from Atlanta to most places in Tennessee is usually a really beautiful drive.
Right.
I love it. It's incredible. And Smokies are in Eastern Tennessee, correct?
Yeah, I think it's like part of it's in Tennessee, part of it's in North Carolina, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like half and half, I believe.
Yeah, please forgive us for our lack of geographical knowledge here. Yeah. But yeah, so drive up is incredible. And didn't we have a lot of plans on our first day? We were going to get there early or something. What did we do? Oh, because we hit Rainbow Falls.
Oh, we did a hike the first day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we did Rainbow Falls. That's the name of it, right?
I think it was. That was the name of the trail.
Right. We did that hike the day before LeCount. And it was around 6 miles. It wasn't a ton of elevation gain.
Can we talk about some of the shit we drove by first on the way to the hike?
Oh, yeah. Get into it, man. Which I feel like 90% of it was in Pigeon Forge, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, it felt like a different world over there.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
it's crazy.
Jay Floyd's Golf and Guns. Like, dude, what?
First of all, you have to have a lot of passion for something to open a store.
100%.
Right? But to have so much passion for both golf and guns to open not 2 stores, but a conjoined store.
Right. I just don't understand the...
where's the connection there?
Yeah, like I got to get a 9-iron and a bunch of bullets today. Like,
yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It's pretty sick. I mean, if anything, it was like, well, we should check it out.
Right. So we snapped a picture of that.
Yeah.
With the disposable camera.
Dude, a lot of like Trump stores and stuff. Like it was just it was interesting. And then Pigeon Forge was like I've heard of it. Mm-hmm. I've never seen it.
Right.
Like we're just whipping through and it was, I mean, we drove by 10 mini golf places.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's one of those towns that's, I can't speak for the whole town because we only really drove down that one strip, right? But that one strip, it was like a tourist town, man. It was crazy.
Hardcore.
all sorts of different attractions. It was like if Ripley's Believe It or Not was a strip of land.
I think there was a Ripley's thing, wasn't there?
I think so.
There was like there was some upside down pirate ships, and it was wild.
They're pretty nuts, man.
But then once you get through that and like bang, you're like in the woods. Like remember there was like a point where you just crossed into the park.
It's very sudden.
Yeah.
It's not this gradual, okay, we're on a populated strip now. There's a couple houses, blah blah blah. No, it was immediate nature. Which is cool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was
a cool spot in Gatlinburg. That's my style of like
you like Gatlinburg,
dude. It was sick. Like that's a bachelor party location.
Oh, okay,
dude. It was fire.
Gill's bachelor party, and
dude, it might have to be. Do a little hiking, and there was mad shit to do there.
Yeah, that was fun. That's where we got those burritos.
Yeah, I think I went enchilada, but
okay, relax.
Yeah, so the day one was so mild. It was so chill.
Yeah, and the weather was beautiful. I mean, it was exactly what you'd expect. We went in the spring, right?
We went
April or May.
April into May.
Yeah, so it was kind of exactly what you'd expect in spring in the Southeast. I mean, we've only experienced it twice because we've only been down here for 2 years, but it's been super awesome every year, and so.
Yeah,
I figured it was a great time to go.
Yeah,
and we both our schedules kind of allowed for it. And yeah, day one, like I said, we hit Rainbow Falls, and it was gorgeous. I mean, neither of us had really done super intense hiking before, so I feel like starting with Rainbow Falls was good. Yeah, we had absolutely no idea what was to come the next day.
Oh my god, it was a good. I'm glad we did it that way. It was an easier hike.
Right.
And it was, it
was nice.
Scenic. It was nice.
Yeah, it was cool. I think it was, it kind of felt like you were hiking through different biomes.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. And Lacan had a little bit of that, but it was really stark.
Yeah.
Just like that change from Pigeon Forge to nature, we'd hit, 3 miles into the hike, and all of a sudden it felt like we were in the desert.
Right.
And you can see pine trees from where you are, but I don't know. It was just interesting.
No, it was sweet.
Yeah, good hike.
Yeah, it was just exactly what you'd expect. Like there was no surprises. It was just nice.
Right.
And then we get back to the campsite. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize I booked the campsite not thinking about where we were hiking. And it was like, whoa, 40 minutes back to the campsite. But the drive was sick.
Oh my gosh. That was, I think to this day, that was one of the more beautiful drives I've ever seen.
Maybe the best drive I've ever been on.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so nice. Windy roads.
Yeah.
Just lined with trees.
Yeah. It was so unassuming. And it was, I really loved that.
Yeah.
But, so we get back to the site and we realize that the camp store is closed. Right, because we got back pretty late.
Yes. We had already set up the tent, right? I think we set it up when we got there.
Yeah, we set it up and then...
Which is a smart move.
Yes.
Always do set your tent up first.
Yep. Set your tent up, and if you need to, buy firewood while the camp store is open.
Yeah.
This camp store had an honor system, but we didn't know. So we... we made some interesting choices with the fire that night. But, we were just kind of getting stoked for... the hike the next day, right? I was just...
I think we grilled up a nice feast that night.
Yeah, that was steak.
Some steak tips, some kebabs.
Yeah.
That was gas. And then...
my fingertips smelled like onions for...
Oh, yeah, you chefed up.
Weeks after.
But, yeah, that was nice. And then I think we called it a night early because we were like, let's get up early. We wanted to hike. It was a long hike. And then we wanted to golf. Like, I booked a tee time.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, all right, we're going to hike and then we're going to go golfing.
Right.
It didn't go down like that.
It was super clear that neither of us had ever done a 13-mile hike before.
I don't know.
Had you done one before?
Me and a couple of my buddies went to Iceland 4 or 5 years ago, and we did some serious hiking.
Right.
But that's why you always set your tent up first, bro. We got to a campsite in Iceland. It was light out, and we're like, let's go make dinner first. They had these communal where you can go in and cook inside because the weather can be unpredictable. And we'll just we'll set up the tent after. Fuck it. We make dinner. It's dark out now. We go to set up the tent. It's pitch black, and it starts pouring rain.
Yeah.
And we're trying to set it up. We eventually just say, "Fuck it, let's get into this." It looked like it was a joke. Like it was falling over. It started like caving in, and the puddle of water was like right here. And my buddy dropped a line that I still use to this day. It was so funny. My buddy Nat, he's like, we're all staring up at the tent. It's this close to our eyes. Minutes of silence. We're just like, what the fuck? And he just goes, so this is camping, huh? It was fucked, but yeah, that's why you always set your tent up first, dude. And
yep.
Yeah, that's a
we're
lesson.
Sitting here saying that as if we're camping experts.
Yeah, I mean, that's day one shit.
Yeah. I mean, I've been camping. I don't know about you. I've been camping my whole life.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of it, enough of it.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't backpacking camping. That wasn't the kind of camping we were doing. We were, it was a little more, yeah, it was just it was more laid back. You know, it wasn't intense labor for that matter. But
I did a little of that with my family, you know, s'mores, that kind of crap.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I mean, honestly, all of this is just an incredible way to get away from noise and just kind of reset. So you can reset in a sober way through camping. It's sobering in and of itself.
It's incredibly good for your mental health too.
Right.
Especially as a child. I read a book in school when I was younger. I mean, I imagine you spent a lot of time when you were younger as a kid out in nature, out in the woods.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly did, and it affected me, the person I became.
Right.
Like, I can't imagine, like, what these kids are doing these days, bro. Like, just
kids these days.
I mean,
yeah, it's
TikTok. How you doing?
It's certainly different. I mean, I would like to think that this generation of kids right now has some advantages that we didn't have because we didn't grow up in or we kind of did grow up in a technological way, but you know, when we were super, super young, we didn't have phones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it was track phones. And then it was, you know, I remember like when touchscreen became a thing, like that was.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, it sucks. It sucks to not grow up in nature. And I fully acknowledge that some people just don't have the resources to do that.
Right.
It's certainly a privilege and a luxury to be able to step away from everyday life for a little bit to do this. So absolutely. Certainly grateful for that. But what I'm not grateful for was the weather that night.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. That was, talk about some of the most inclement weather I've ever experienced in my life.
Without a doubt.
And of course it's before this big hike.
Right. This big day.
Yeah. To kind of paint a picture for you, we call it early. Was this the night we were struggling to get the fire going too?
No.
Oh, that was the second night.
Okay. I don't even think we tried to get a fire going that first night.
That's right. Oh, okay. Yes. This was night two. Okay. Hold up. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Like I said, to paint you a picture, we call it early and we get in the tent and those sleeping bags that you had bought, they're so low to the ground. I mean, they just blow up, they inflate with air.
Oh, the little pads that you sleep on?
Right. Yeah. And so we're just on top of those in sleeping bags and it's this massive 10-person tent. And all of a sudden the wind starts to pick up and it was kind of mild at first, but I feel like it was again, going back to that stark change, all of a sudden I blinked and it felt like hurricane force winds.
It was, dude. It was. And it was, you know, it was mild at first, but it was just loud enough kind of where it was like, this is going to be tough to fall asleep.
Yeah. Kind of annoying.
Yeah. And then it became, I mean, it got to the point where what are these, the stakes?
Yeah.
I mean, it ripped them all out of the ground.
Right.
And the only thing holding that tent down was
us.
Two bodies. Like it was ridiculous. And I mean, Jesus. I remember you got up to piss at one point, and it was just like we got out of the tent. I was like, I'm going to take a leak too, or at least check on the status of this tent.
Right.
And we get out, and the thing's like lifting off the ground.
Right. Yeah. Someone had to stay in the tent because it was just going to go. Yeah. It was insane. I couldn't believe it, man. And of course, it was the night before we had this, you know, massive hike.
Yeah. Worst night's sleep of my life. I mean, we didn't sleep.
Yeah.
I didn't get any sleep.
Yeah. I mean, it was maybe it was that kind of sleep where you are barely just dipping under the surface,
Right.
and it's kind of like, it wasn't. Put it this way, we didn't get REM sleep. Okay.
There was no restful sleep. So,
No,
I mean, the sun starts coming up and we're like, we wanted to head to the hike at that point, but we're like, no shot. We got to get a little sleep.
Yeah.
We're about to conquer this hike. So I think we just went back to bed. I don't even know what time we got up. 11?
I kind of recall falling asleep sometime between like 7 and 8.
Yeah.
And then getting up at 10:30, 11 and pretty immediately hitting the road.
Right.
Because, we had the 50-minute drive to the trailhead.
Right.
So, yeah, already, kind of a really good picture for how this day is going to go. And so we're tired. We did, we pack up our bags. We have a ton of food and water. We got plenty of water. And we just start driving. And I don't really think we talked much in the car on the way there because it was, I don't know. It was just like, fuck, man. Like, we'd been looking forward to this trip for a really long time. When like one thing like that goes wrong,
right.
It's easy to let it derail your mental state.
Right. I remember getting out of the tent after we got up at like 11 and the two people we had next to us, we had one bougie camper van, and they didn't even come out of the thing.
No.
It was like, okay, that's one way to do it. And then the guy on the other side of us, like him and his wife.
It was like Tent Island.
They had like 8 different things going.
Yeah, they had an outdoor shower.
Room. Yeah, like they were set up.
That was insane.
He was like, "Did you guys make it through the storm?" We were like,
grill.
Yeah. So, I think we were just happy to get to the trailhead and be like, all right.
Yeah.
I think we had called golf off. We're like, that's doubtful.
Yeah, time
we're
to
not making it to
prioritize.
the links. But
yeah.
So we sent it up, and damn, it was beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
That shit was.
Yeah, it was
gorgeous.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about how tired we were right when we started. I remember we took those before pictures, and it was really easy at first. You're kind of just hiking through all these, magnolias, and it's so beautiful. If you've hiked LeConte and specifically the trail that we did, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. We did the Alum Cave bluffs,
right,
up to LeConte, up to
Myrtle Point.
Bang.
Yeah.
Memory.
Yep.
Sharp's attack.
Yeah, and I would say the first half of the way up until we got to the kind of the bluffs, was gorgeous.
And it was pretty. It wasn't too steep. It was like pretty chill.
Yeah, and I don't know. It wasn't very hard. There were like you said, it wasn't horribly steep, but I don't know. It's definitely was physically strenuous. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a 10 out of 10 difficulty hike.
No.
But it was kind of the circumstances that made it hard more so.
Yeah. We saw some people. there were some old women.
Yeah, dude, we get to the bluffs and I'm sitting there, we're sweating. We got to take a break. We're like, oh, fuck, man, this is crazy. Like, this is so beautiful. Look how high up we are, blah, blah, blah. And I look over and there's some kid in sweatpants and Air Force Ones that had just, and with a bunch of other people, and they're just kind of taking a selfie and getting ready to head back down. I'm going, all of this, I'm thinking back to buying all the shit and prepping and all of this. And then this kid, they just decided to walk up this big hill one day.
Yeah,
it kind of made me feel like an idiot, to be honest with you.
I had the Camelback, the bear spray holster.
Oh my gosh, this dude looked like a SWAT officer. It was crazy.
That wasn't, in the grand scheme of that whole hike, that was like a third, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
But that wasn't even halfway, I don't think. Oh. But I could be wrong. But so we kept trekking.
Yep. Is it time?
I think that's the next part.
Is it time to tell it?
Yeah, I think it's the next part. You want me to tell it? I'll start it and you finish it.
You can start it. I'm still recovering from this.
So I had bought we're in the Smoky Mountains, so I bought you know, a big, like a howitzer can of bear spray. And I had it holstered on my belt. I mean, I'm not terrified of bears, but I'm pretty scared of bears. I mean,
as you should be.
They're one of the most vicious predators in the game,
right?
I think, especially the grizzly bear. We're in black bear country, but you know, I'm figuring we're in the Smokies. We might run into some bears,
right?
So I got the bear spray, and I don't know why I thought I had to show you how it works. But I felt the need to be like, yo, check this out.
It was such a dude moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fucking can of Febreze on steroids.
Yeah. I mean, that's military grade pepper spray, man. I mean, it's meant to stun a bear.
Right.
Right? Like that is, it's a terrifying weapon. It really is. And so we're making our way up the mountain.
We come to like a little peninsula, like cliff point. And I
was
like, this will be a good spot to.
Yeah, a lot of the trail is kind of surrounded. You have, you know, the mountain on one side of the trail, and then there's a lot of either foliage or brush or whatever on the other side of the trail. But we came to that point where there was an opening,
right?
You know, on our left side as we're walking, and so, Hot Shot feels like it's time to demonstrate the bear spray. He goes, "I tested it in the backyard. Don't worry, it's sick." And so. Gill's in front of me. He's leading, and so I kind of stand back for obvious reasons, and Gill takes it off his holster, and he points it out, and he goes, psst, and it's this orange mist, and it was a piss missile. I mean, it was so, it wasn't your little spritzer that you use to spray your plants and stuff. It was... I mean, it was like a fucking bow and arrow, man.
Yeah, thing came out hot.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, wow, very cool, very cool. You know, kind of wait for it to dissipate. And, you know, just being grateful that we have it, you know. Just and in this moment, I'm like, man, if we run into a bear, that's going to fuck that bear up. That's going to be so great. Wow, thank you. Thank you for buying that. Wow,
so I keep walking.
Yep. And I wait for it to dissipate, and it kind of floats off. And I'm like, okay, coast is clear. So I start walking forward, and like the wrath of the heavens came down upon us. The residual of that spritz floats right into my eyes.
There must have been a gust of wind that blasted in your face. Because I turn around, I start walking, and then all of a sudden I hear, "You got me." I turn around, I'm like, and I just see you like.
I know I'm keeled over. I'm leaning over on kind of the side of the mountain, and before he does anything else, I hear the click of the disposable camera, and that's when I knew you were one of my best friends.
I'm gonna have to like toss the picture up.
Oh yeah,
on the video.
Yeah, absolutely, and. So Gill, I'm kneeled down, and Gill's got his friggin' camelback over me, and he's squeezing it into my eyes. I'm trying to, you know,
trying to flush your eyes out.
Yeah, it's got pepper sprayed, man, and it was. I mean, that is for those of you who have been pepper sprayed. You know, I mean, it is a visceral pain, like. When you can't open your eyes, when it hurts to close your eyes and to open them, you're like, I may as well just hold my breath until it all goes black.
It fucks your nose up too.
Yeah, shit, right? Everything in your face, man. I mean, it's burning your skin. It's like acid, dude. Right, it's crazy. Right. And I mean, thankfully, pouring the water in that got it out pretty quick, and we were able to kind of move
soldiered on.
We toughed it out. Gave him the old Breakfast Club fist in the air, and we moved on, man.
That was funny shit. That's what that was.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, from then on, it was pretty much smooth sailing until we got to the camp.
Yeah, the top part there.
Yeah, where there's all the little lodges.
It took a quick turn, man. What was that? It was like, it was horror movie vibes up there.
Yeah, it was interesting, man. If you've seen Midsummer, it kind of reminded me of that. It was, for those of you who don't know, I mean, there's this, you can almost call it like a village.
It looks like that.
At the top of LeConte, and there's all these log cabins, and it's its own little isolated little town. You know, you get up there and it's hard to remember you're like 5,500 feet up.
Right.
You know, this little town in the clouds. But so we show up, and at this point, both of us had to go to the bathroom. I mean, I had to take a dump. You had to take a dump. We were kind of approaching that point of scorched earth where it's like we have to go. And
had we gone to the little lodge thing? Did we go there first?
No, we started at the bathrooms. Okay. Because the bathrooms are right when you walk into the town. And so I go in. This is, you know, my moment of admitting. I went into that bathroom and I was like, I'd rather shit my pants. It was, oh my God, dude.
Are you not like a public bathroom person?
No, I don't mind public bathrooms. Okay. It just, like, I don't know. I have this visceral fear of something reaching out of the toilet and grabbing my butthole or something. Like, it's, I don't know. I just got freaked out, man. I was like, it is so gross.
It was nasty.
It was so nasty. And so I was like, you know, you convince yourself, you're like, I can hold it. I'll be fine.
Do they pump those out? It looks like just a pit in the ground.
That's exactly what it is. I think, you know, I don't know what happens.
I don't think they pump it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like a porta potty. It was just like built into the earth.
It's a hole in the ground.
Right.
It's an outhouse, essentially.
Literally.
And so I'm kind of sitting outside of it. There's like a little bench next to it, and Gill's in there, and, you know, you just heard the trumpet sound. Yeah. And so I'm rooting you on, cheering you on from the outside, and I guess the theme of this, I'm kind of realizing now that we're telling the story front to back, is very stark changes. There was a lot. There wasn't a lot of gradual stuff that happened. It was very much.
It was flip switch stuff.
Exactly. And so you're in the bathroom doing your thing, and I'm sitting out there, and all of a sudden, I'm in a t-shirt. You're in. I think you were in this shirt, right?
I think we had been to the store before this happened.
What do you mean?
Are you talking about the rain?
Yeah.
Starting? I think we went to the lodge first.
Oh, did we?
I think so.
Did we get
we got some snacks. Then we went and ate them.
That's right.
So we go to there's this little lodge.
Yeah.
And it's pitch black in there.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like no electricity or anything.
And then they closed at
4.
They were about to close. So we got some snacks. We sat there, chilled for a second. And then we're like, all right, we wanted to go. If you continued the hike, there was this amazing lookout called Myrtle Point. And it was like another mile or something. Mm-hmm. So we grab our snacks, we go. Then we're sitting back over by the bathrooms.
Right.
And we're eating our shit. And then that dude comes up.
Oh, that's right.
Remember the dude?
Yeah, homeboy in shorts and a t-shirt and all that.
Hiking alone.
That's right. And literally like the flip of a switch, it drops. It had to have dropped 30, 40 degrees. I mean, it was an unbelievable change in temperature. I'd never felt anything like that in my life.
Brick all of a sudden.
Yeah, it felt like, you know, being in your home in winter and walking outside into the cold. It was unbelievable. And just as fast as that temperature change happened, it starts torrential
downpour.
Yeah, it was dogs. I mean, it was some of the hardest rain I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And we're on the top of a mountain.
Right. It's like you either go down, but we made it this far. That we want to go to Myrtle Point. We want to see. We want to see.
Because there wasn't a lot of crazy views.
Right.
There was some, you know, you could look out and stuff. But
it's like, more about the hike.
Yes.
Right. But yeah, Myrtle Point.
That's where the views are at.
Right. You see all the surrounding mountains and all that stuff. And so we're like, okay, maybe we can go back to that lodge and wait it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, at this point, just walking over to the lodge, we were already soaked. It was like the rain droplets must have been, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the rain droplets must have been as big as golf balls. Dude, it was insane. And we cracked the door open, we walk in, and the girl working the counter goes, oh, I'm sorry, we're closed. And I was like,
we're like,
huh? I mean,
we might be at risk of dying.
Right. It's
the temperature's low.
It's 40 degrees.
Pouring rain.
Yeah. It was like, what? Can we just chill in here for a second?
We're not staying. Some people like have they rent the little things.
Right.
Like, right. I mean, hypothermia was like a real thing. I didn't have any layers.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, that was one thing that I learned big time on this hike. Always have a raincoat.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Have a fucking raincoat.
Yeah.
Idiot.
How could I have been so foolish?
We'll get to that.
But yeah, but at this point we have to make a decision, right? We're like, do we go on to Myrtle Point and risk? I mean, imagine, because my mind is going to, we're going to continue, we're going to get hypothermia, we're going to run into a bear. Like
that's where my mind's at.
Right. When like in these times where it gets really bad, really fast, I mean, you have to really work to keep your mental state intact. And this is not, it might sound silly and stupid the way we're being like, well, we were afraid, but it was really harsh conditions all of a sudden. Yeah. And it was really not safe to be hiking,
and if you get wet and then it's really cold, and we're 4 or 5 hours from our car.
Right, exactly. We got a long hike
it's
ahead
a
of
factor.
Us. Yeah.
So I think we collectively were just like, I mean, if fuck it.
Right.
We're up here. Let's just go for it.
It was certainly like disregarding our own safety moment. But we, all these months of planning and all this time prepping for this.
I think part of it, and this is kind of a theme too, is that we don't want to disappoint each other. Like,
right.
I don't want to bitch out. You know what I mean? Right. And the next hike story is big on that.
Yeah, yeah. This is just a sample.
We sent it, man.
Yeah, we sent it. And we got to Myrtle Point. And I remember the last kind of 50 yards of that hike were it was like sharp rocks and they were all wet. And it was
like a river running down.
Yeah. I mean, it almost felt like every sign was being sent to us to turn around and stop. But
I will say this, when we got there, the rain kind of stopped.
It did. It did.
It was just like a little light drizzle.
Yeah. It was kind of a divine intervention there at the end there.
And you had a raincoat, right?
I did, yeah.
And you gave me the shirt off your back. Right. That's the kind of guy this guy is. You gave me the shirt off your back. Bro, it saved my damn life, I think.
Yeah.
I was wearing like this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
But,
that's what I do. It was a heavy denim shirt. Yeah, it was so, big, when it got wet, though, it was wet.
It was enough insulation, though, to keep me, like, I stayed warm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We made it through, man.
Yeah. And the view was tight. It was all clouds, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw a picture up. Yeah.
Yeah, we should. And I think something to note here was, or I should say is, that Gil and I are both sober. And this was a huge moment in our friendship because we had, it was kind of a benchmark of our sobriety journey to make it to the top of this mountain. And I don't know, it was such a sobering moment. And when you're in the face of such intense nature, it's so reflective and it makes you look inward. And it just made me think about sobriety a lot.
Yeah,
on
me
this.
too.
And
we talked a lot about it on the hike.
Yeah.
And talking.
Yeah. Being grateful for my health and my body, and sobriety is a huge part of that because both of us can attest to how damaging heavy drinking is on your body. Sure. And it was nice. We brought a couple of athletic non-alcoholic beers up to the top. And it was
a little toast up there. That was
fun. I mean, it was a really kind of sweet moment of. It almost felt like my wellness journey started there.
Yeah, it felt more significant than just a hike.
Right.
Almost.
Yeah, it was incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
I think. And as a human being and as someone who wants to be the best person that they can be, it was like, okay, look what you can achieve in the face of, shitty odds.
Right.
And, it's not like we ran a 128-mile marathon, but like, you got to start somewhere, and this was our start, and it was very dope that we got to do it together.
Yep.
And we were both sober.
Yep.
And we got to experience that through a completely pure mindset and unfiltered and just, it was so raw.
Right. And I think a lot of people overlook. It's so built into our culture that like, oh, in order to enjoy this experience, I need to be high or drunk or on shrooms or something. Like, dude, sobriety is pretty amazing in and of itself. Just like having those raw experiences.
Yeah.
And I started to realize that, and we talked a lot about it, like on this hike.
Right.
But it was dope. And then when we left the peak, it was like the hike down usually it's like, oh, it's the hike down. All right, let's go. It was dope. The hike down was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
because I mean, you get to, you have that notch in your belt now. You know, you're like, we peaked LeCount.
Yeah.
Sober.
Right.
And we did it, and it rained, and it sucked, and it was hard, and Gil almost died. And it was just like, talk about getting the bug, dude.
Yeah.
That was that. I mean, that was, so to speak, a high.
Yep.
That I've been chasing ever since.
Yeah.
And so we have this, you know, sober spiritual moment at the top of this mountain, and we take a couple pictures, and we just kind of take a moment to breathe it all in and appreciate all of it. And like you said, it's like, oh, well, time to go down. And so we hiked down, and it was, I mean, we were hauling ass because at this point we're thinking we have to get to the car before the sun sets. Yeah. Right. Because not only is hiking in the dark dangerous because you can't see very well, but, you know, animals.
Right.
Bears.
Yeah, I think they're more active at night.
Yeah, 100%.
And we didn't really see anybody.
No,
usually it's a good sign when you see a lot of, like, you know, you see people on the trail. You're probably not going to run into wildlife. Yeah, but we didn't really see, and I was kind of worried about that dude.
I know we never really saw him. They got a t-shirt, shorts,
because it started pouring, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna head down," and it poured for a while.
Yeah, well, I hope if he's listening to this, I hope he's okay. Well, that's a good segue. Yeah. Into our next adventure.
Yeah. So I mean, we got back from that trip, and it was like that was sick.
Yeah. I mean, we were on the way back, and you're going, I'm already planning the next one.
Yeah. But you kind of took you did this hike. I mean, God bless you. You did it in some. What were those boots you were wearing?
Oh, they were like flat soled Timberlands, man. I mean, they were horrible. I didn't have a pair of hiking boots at this point, and I think it was just. It's not that I didn't want to buy hiking boots. I was like, oh, these will be fine because they're comfortable to walk around Atlanta in. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, I don't know why I thought that, but yeah, those boots were trashed. We got to the bottom and they were ripped up, wet, waterlogged. Those were going in the dumpster.
Yeah, you trashed those.
Yeah,
but you got some new gear.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I got some Solomon hiking boots. Absolutely love those. And my new backpack. Yep. Yeah, it's an Osprey backpack. Yeah. Love it. Like I said, we're people who like to buy gear. This time it was justified, though. Yeah. You know, we had done the hike.
Yeah, you needed that shit.
Yeah, and I had this. It almost looked like a military backpack that I hiked up LeCount in. Right. It was really big, and I had a lot of stuff in it. It was really heavy. But I mean, it was a super long hike, so we figured, you know, we need supplies and whatnot in case of emergency. But the next hike that I planned was a little bit shorter, or was supposed to be a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I think it ended up being the same day.
So, I mean, Gil, you did so much of the groundwork on the LeCount hike. I was thinking, okay, I feel like I got to pull my weight. Let me do this one, as kind of a thank you for putting all that together. So I'm asking around different people in Atlanta, a lot of people in the city really love to be outdoorsy. So I figure, some of my friends I asked, they would have really good recommendations of places to go.
Right.
And one of the recommendations that came up a couple of times was Tallulah Gorge, which is about, what was it, an hour and a half, 2 hours from here?
Yeah.
And it seems like a pretty cool hike. I mean, there's a couple different trails you can hit. There's one where you can kind of hike down into the gorge. And I wanted to do that one in addition to this other 8-miler, right? Because we did the 13-mile LeCount. I'm like, I want that. I want it to be hard.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the longest one I could find in that specific.
The gorge one?
Not the gorge one we did, but the one we did.
Yeah.
So we planned this. We're not going to camp. We're just going to go out for the day because it's kind of close to Atlanta. And we get out there in the morning. I don't know when we got there, maybe 8 or 9.
What was it?
We got there kind of late morning.
Was it a Monday?
Yeah, it was a weird day of the week.
I remember I slept like dog shit the night before.
Right.
Like I got maybe 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, this kid's been, he's excited. He's fired up. Like I got to show up for him and get in the car right now. And then we get up there and you needed a permit to hike you needed to like get there early to get to do the gorge hike.
Right, the gorge floor trail.
Yeah, and apparently people line up to go check this out. So we get there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what time we got there. And I think you walked over, and they were like, nah, we sold out or we're not doing it.
Yeah, the guy said you have to get in line. I mean, this is a PSA for anybody that wants to hike the gorge floor trail at Tallulah Gorge. You have to be in line at 8 a.m. to get the pass, because they only do a limited number of passes for it.
Right. Which I respect that.
Yeah, I'm sure it gets crowded and it's, they want to monitor traffic or whatever. But so unfortunately, that was kind of not in the cards for the day. So this other trail, I can't remember what it was called, but it was the longest trail that they offered. Yeah. Right. So I was like, oh, okay, we did LeConte. We can do this easy. Yeah, 8 miles, no problem. It was
I'm like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah, 4 miles out, 4 miles back, no problem.
Yeah. My whole mindset going into this was like, oh, this is going to be light work. Mm-hmm. Like, this is going to be, this is going to be a chill hike.
Right.
This was the farthest from chill hike I will ever do in my life. I think.
This was hands down, I would say probably one of the scariest days of my life.
I'm still unpacking the trauma. I'm glad we're talking about it.
Yeah, honestly, this is a good way to unpack
it. Oh, my God.
Do you want to start?
Yeah.
Well, let me first say, we started out on this trail. Like I said, it's 4 miles out, and there's a boat launch, and then it's 4 miles back.
Yeah, it wasn't like up a mountain.
No, it was maybe...
It just like winded through the woods. Yeah. There was some elevation up and down and stuff.
It was maybe 1,000 feet of elevation gain or like total.
Right.
It was not a strenuous hike vertically.
And this was a very diverse hike as far as it felt like different biomes.
Right,
and stuff.
Right. And I think...
It felt jungly, and then it felt deserty. Mm-hmm. Remember that stretch?
Yep. I think it's worth noting, too, that we did this in July. Was it June or July?
Yes. It was 100 degrees.
It was so obscenely hot.
Scorching.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, it's always hot in the summer in where we live, but I don't know what it was. It felt like the sun was 100 feet from us that day.
It was very
hot.
Humid too.
Yeah. But very humid. Right. And we had a ton of water though. We packed.
We did.
Or so we thought.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, the hike started out kind of weird. There was one point we got to it felt like there was like poles. It was like, are we in the back of like a warehouse somewhere? So we get through that. And it was pretty chill at first. I remember we saw a lot of squirrels and crap. There was those fucking flies that were like fucking kamikaze in my head. So I was like, these fuckers, I slept for 3 hours.
And I feel like you were just very irritable that day anyway.
If I don't sleep good, I kind of suck. Yeah. But we get to one point, I remember we saw that deer.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw like a deer. I was like, oh, there's some animals out here.
Yeah.
And I think the first red flag on this hike was we get to a point and there was just, the trail just stopped. It looked like it stopped. It was just brush up to your shoulders.
Right.
And
very unkept trail.
Very unkept. And I was thinking immediately like, first of all, we hadn't seen a soul on it.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was probably the first red flag.
One.
Yeah, when you don't see anybody else on the trail, you either don't know something that everybody else knows, or it's just not a popular trail, which is probably for a reason.
Right.
But I thought it being the longest trail that you'd see some go-getters out there. Right, I don't know, but yeah, no, we saw absolutely no one.
And sometimes I'll look at I think you told me the trail name, and I looked it up on All Trails.
Yeah.
And there's reviews, people reviewing it. It had good reviews, you know what I mean? But we get out there and there's nobody there.
Right.
And the brush is so high. I'm like, people don't hike this trail. If people hiked it, there would be that brush. You would see the patterns of people moving through. And I remember saying to you, I was like, dude, like, should we head back? Like, should we? And you're like, nah. And you just start trucking through the brush. I'm like, oh God. And then as soon as we started trucking through that brush, I turn to my right and I see a berry bush. And I immediately, my heart sunk a little bit. I was like, are we in bear country? I didn't bring my bear spray. I thought there was kids running around the gift shop. I was like, this is going to be so laid back. And I see a berry bush, and I'm like, I remember I still had phone service at this point. It was kind of early on, and I looked up. I was like, Tallulah Gorge State Park, like, are there bears here or whatever?
Yeah.
And it was a bang. You Google, yep.
I mean, they didn't say anything about it. Now, this is talk about extreme accountability here. We shouldn't depend on the people who work at the park to tell us if there's bears. We should just assume that there's going to be bears.
Well, old Ricky behind the desk did say this. He was like, you got to fill out a permit and put it on your car. And he's like, if you don't come back, we'll come looking for you. I was like, what?
And us just being excited to do the hike and just going, okay, sounds good.
We'll be fine, buddy.
Yeah. All right, Rick.
Rick. But, so we start trucking through the brush and then it opens up kind of, I remember. And all of a sudden I see some shit on the ground, right on the trail.
A big shit.
A big dump.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that looks like, I mean, I'm no shit specialist, although that toilet might disagree. But I see the shit and I'm like, that's a monster dump. Have you ever seen a horse shit? It's got like floors.
Yeah,
levels.
It's like a pyramid.
Yeah. This thing was not like that. It was like it looked like someone just dumped a bucket of toxic sludge on the ground and then sprinkled a bunch of undigested berries in it. I was like, that's bear shit, bro. And I remember you said this. You're like, it could be deer shit. And then you just kept walking. I was like, I'm sweating at this point.
Yeah. It's the largest deer of all time.
You know, I was like, nah, it's fucking bear scat. This dingaling actually thinks that's deer shit. But man, we just kept it pushing.
Right.
So at this point, I'm like, fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's when we had our first encounter.
No, we made it to the halfway point.
No.
What? Yes, we did. We made it to the boat launch. It didn't get bad until the way back.
What about the one up in the brush?
Oh, that's right. Okay,
I
see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah. That was on the way.
Yeah.
But I feel like, dude, honestly, we're telling this story. I got to apologize because I feel like I was gaslighting you
a little bit.
It's thinking there were no bears, man.
I mean, it wasn't. I think you were just trying to keep me calm.
Right.
Because I think you started to see me get
you were tweaking a little bit.
A little bit.
Which, whether there's bears or not, is not going to help.
Right.
So.
Right. Very good point.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. Continue.
I will say this, too, before I continue, is like, if you weren't with me, if I did this hike solo, this would have been the most terrifying experience of all time.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, after we see the bear shit, we walk down that long stretch, which was a beautiful view of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that part?
Yeah, it's a really nice spot.
We get to this part where it's like, it's looking out over the lake, and then up in the brush, like above us, it's like almost like a cave wall, and then there's like, you can't see anything. It's just all brush.
Yeah.
And we just hear a
super thick brush too. I mean, it's like, you can't see through it.
Right. And we just heard a large animal moving.
Right.
And then I think we both just stopped and we're like, hey bear, that kind of thing. Like, make some noise. And I remember it stopped moving when we started making noise.
Right.
And that was the longest 5 seconds of my life.
Oh my gosh. Because I mean, you're hoping that you make the noise and it takes off in the other direction, but it didn't. It just kind of stood and froze, which I think that's kind of why I thought it was a deer, you know, because it could have been a deer. I mean, in my hometown, you know, you make a noise and a deer freezes before they run. Right. And eventually it did take off. So I'm like, okay, it's probably a deer. Okay. And I think it's probably, looking back, it was my defense mechanism trying to convince myself that it was not a bear, because I was also trying to stay calm and not tweak. Right. You know, because I won't get to that. I'll say that later, but continue.
Right. Yeah, so that was a little frightening. And I'm realizing, I'm thinking to myself, damn, I'm such a fucking idiot for not bringing my bear spray. Like, how could I be so naive to not think this was bear country and stuff? Right. So, like, we didn't have any, we had our bare fists. Yeah. I'm thinking, like, if we got into an altercation.
And we had maybe a couple of 4-inch blades.
Yeah, I mean, that pocket knife I got that I used to open Amazon packages I had with me. That thing's duller than, you know.
Yeah. I had mine I got at Buc-ee's. Okay. Shout out Buc-ee's. I got some rope and knife at Buc-ee's. Yeah.
What an amazing place.
That was an essential stop on the way to the first hike. But anyway, continue.
So I think I think that was the only, on the first half, that was the only scary moment, really.
Right.
Other than that spider that we saw.
Oh my goodness. Let me tell this part because this was probably the funniest thing that I've ever witnessed in my life. So we're getting towards the end of the trail, and it comes to this point where there's a canopy, right? So it's a little darker. We're not in the beating sun anymore. And so our immediate surroundings aren't as illuminated, and we're walking, and there was a spider, a significant spider.
Baby had back, dude.
Yeah, 100%. She had a zip code, dude. I mean, it was a large spider.
I hate spiders.
Yeah. And it was hanging in this web, and Gil walked right through it.
I hadn't walked through it yet. We saw it, and we were like, okay, let's make a mental note of where this is.
Oh.
And we dodged it, and we're like, all right, on our way back, let's avoid that.
Right.
At this point, we just kind of cruised down to the boat launch.
Right.
At the halfway point. It emptied out onto a road, like a dirt gravel road.
Right. And there was a lot. It was a small lot, and then a little tiny kind of very similar to the outhouse that was at LeCount. There's a little building, and then this little boat launch. So we kind of posted up against a tree and had our snacks and kind of ate and drank our water. And, you're mentally rationing your supplies based on how long you think you have left.
Right.
Obviously, it sounds stupid and obvious to say, but that's what we're doing. So we're like, okay, we'll save, maybe one little bite to eat and like half of your water. Right. Cool. We wrap up. We're like, all right, we should get back. So we start going back on this hike. And immediately we get to the spot of the spider web, and you walk right into it.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Why am I getting the spider part wrong?
Dude, the spider part was happening after the panic was set in, and we headed.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Sorry.
So we came to the spider spot, dodged it,
jukes,
and then we start cruising, and it's really hot. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's been hot all day. I mean, we're losing fluids, we're losing electrolytes.
Electrolytes are heading south.
Yeah, it's not good.
So we come around this corner, and I stop dead in my tracks. And you seeing me stop, you freezed.
Yeah, because I was like, why would you stop?
Why would you stop?
Like, and it was the way you were standing too. You immediately, it looked like you were in defense mode.
Yep.
And I couldn't even see your face, but I could see from behind that you were scared.
Mm-hmm.
And
I all of a sudden I look maybe 40, 50 yards, like right dead ahead, right onto the trail. I see 3 bear cubs just coming down off a tree log right onto the trail.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I don't even remember that moment, what we did. I
remember it a little bit. I remember you kind of turned around and you were trying to be really quiet.
Right.
And you were like,
yeah, let's backtrack.
And you kind of pointed. And at this point, you had your knife out.
Yeah.
As if, I don't know if you thought you were going to be able to fight these bears off, but it was just, if it made you feel safe or something.
I figured if we got charged by a mother bear.
Right. Well, that's the thing to note here, is that where there's cubs, there's a mama bear.
Right.
And
like, that's when they're at their most aggressive. You
right.
don't want to roll up and surprise a mother.
Yeah. And black bears are generally not super aggressive, but if they feel like their cubs are being threatened,
game over.
They'll rip you in half.
Right.
And
keep in mind, like, we have no phone service.
Right.
We're
SOS
hours
on your phone.
We're hours from anywhere.
Right.
There's no people out there.
Right.
And like, if one of us took a bear paw to the jugular, like, what are we gonna do?
You're bleeding out there.
What are you gonna
do? And here's the scary part, is that these bears are populating the only way back.
Right.
Right. And or at least that we knew. And we're sitting there thinking, okay, our way back is cut off.
Right.
And so what do you do in that moment? I mean, it is so hard to describe unless you've been through it, how it feels to feel like prey to a different species that is way stronger than you are. Because it's all fun and games. You're Mr. Tough Guy until you see an animal like that in the wild, man. I mean, they're beautiful animals, but they are so strong. Dude. And they're huge.
Right.
Bears are fucking huge.
Dude, yeah.
And so in this moment, I mean, we had to make a split second decision. We either wait and see if they cross and continue, or we turn back. And obviously we made the right decision since we're sitting here talking about it.
Right. There wasn't even a this or that to me. It was like, let's retreat.
Right.
Because I didn't even see the mother. It was a split second. Like I saw 3 cubs and I was like, let's go. Let's get out of here before she hears us or sees us. Like,
I was going to say, if you see the mother, you're probably in trouble.
Right.
Like in that situation, I mean,
luckily it was kind of, there was some growth around us and we just kind of,
we were able, but like, I mean, we're humans, man, that didn't grow up in the wild. I mean, you don't know how to move silently.
Right.
Right. So you're so hyper aware in those moments of all the sounds you're making and just how much of a prey you're being.
Right.
And it's terrifying knowing that there's nothing you can do to change that aside from run.
Right.
And obviously you don't want to run because it'll startle them, but we turn on and we are hauling ass as fast as we safely can.
Right. And now we're making noise.
Yeah. And every 5 seconds it's, you know? Yeah. And it's, I mean, it was fucking scary.
It's terrifying,
man.
Like, and all of a sudden, like when it rains, it pours. I feel
right.
Like. We start moving, and bang, there's something in the brush up there.
Yeah,
there was something down there. Yeah, large.
The one that was down in the brush was close.
Yes, it was,
and it was big, and it was. We made noise, and it scurried away. Thank God. But we're making our way back, and at this point, I'm thinking about water. I'm thinking about being here after dark because like. Rick behind the counter said, if we don't come back, they'll come looking for us. So I'm like, and we don't know that there's a way back and another way back.
Right. We're just going to.
So I'm thinking, do we wait at the boat launch and like hide in the bathroom that was there until they are thinking, okay, they went on that trail. Maybe they're there.
Right.
And it's like, fuck. I mean, do we wait, which is incredibly dangerous?
Yeah.
And you're there at night, or do we follow this random gravel dirt road that we have no idea where it goes?
Right.
Thank heavens that you had downloaded the map on All Trails because we could see a rough kind of dotted line
of like where a road might go.
Right.
Yeah.
And after obviously a couple minutes on that road, we realized that was the road on the map.
Right.
And so we start on this road, and at this point,
so before we get to the road, we're hustling, and I just eat the spider. I just walk through the spider.
Yeah, and
how could I be so stupid?
Yeah, Gil. I mean, in this moment, it's like the last thing you want to do is freak out, and he just leans down and goes, "How could I have been so stupid?"
I was melting down at this point.
Literally a Tim Burton character, man. But I mean, at this point, it was more important than ever to just keep our cool and just keep going. So. We get to that boat launch, we make that decision, and we start on this road. And like you said, when it rains, it pours. Man, this road must have been at a 45-degree angle.
The whole thing was uphill.
It was so steep for like a mile or two.
And I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're probably 6 hours into this hike.
Yeah.
And it's hot, and we're running low on water because we didn't plan for this.
Right.
Our fault.
Right.
And we're starting back, and I remember. I mean, man, when we were going up that hill on that road, you were losing it. Dude, you were about to give up.
I was snapping. Yeah,
that was rough.
I needed to harness the inner Goggins and just be a bitch. And you're motivating me, thank God, because I'm fucking working on no sleep. You know, the electrolytes are running low, so the fucking, I'm like starting to lose it a little bit.
Are setting in.
And I remember we come to like a crossroads. I think I tried ordering an Uber.
Yeah.
On like, I tried like hot spotting and then like doing some crazy shit.
Here's the thing about that, man.
Silly.
This is our moment of admittance. When you went to go order that Uber, I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere.
No, it was so stupid.
And I know that you needed to try for your mental health in that moment. So I didn't say anything. I was like, well, let's just keep walking because if it comes, it's got to come on this road, so we'll intercept it. And yeah, so obviously, no Uber,
nothingdone.com. So we come to a fork, I think. And like we go down, which looks like the way,
right?
And then all of a sudden we go down. It's like a while down this little road, and then all of a sudden we get to like the road stops. It was like a mound of.
There was like a mound of dirt and then woods.
Yeah, and it was just like we couldn't get through it.
Yeah, but on the maps the road continued there, and we saw that it wrapped around to the parking lot where we needed to be. So so we backtrack. I think we went about a mile down that road.
I think that's when we really were both like, you started getting a little nervous at that point. Like this was the first time you were like, dude, fuck.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, at this point we're not near the boat launch. We have no idea how long this road is. And we'll also at that point, we don't know if the map is accurate.
Right.
Because it said there was a road here and there's not a fucking road there.
Right.
And so we're kind of at this point, it's a fucking Hail Mary, man. We're like, we're going to follow what it says on this map. Cause if you backtrack, it kind of, there was a really long detour and that went around that eventually led back. So it's like, let's hope that leads back to the parking lot because if not, we're going to be out here at night.
Right. I remember a truck drove by us at one point. The one sign of life we've seen all day.
Right.
And we're just
right by us. And it never came back.
Right.
Which was super bizarre.
So weird. And so we just kept trucking, bro.
Right.
And
it was just dirt road for a while. I mean, dude, at this point, my feet are killing me. My back's killing me. Like we are basically out of water.
Right. Right. And then we follow this long detour, and all of a sudden we wind up in. Ding 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 ding. There's like cars rotting in like these little like old creepy houses.
It was like some Deliverance shit.
It was Deliverance shit. And now I wasn't worried about the fucking bears anymore.
Yeah,
I was more worried about the cat in overalls that comes out with the shotgun. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when I tell you this was the middle of nowhere.
Oh my God.
It was, we're walking by these kind of trailer houses and whatnot, and
these are the type of people that want to be left alone.
Right. I mean, that's why. So we put a little pep in our step when we saw those houses. Yeah. But at that point, we were getting close to the end, and it looked like, albeit scary, that house and kind of freaky and weird, but it was nice that there was a sign of life. Right. It was like, okay,
we must be getting close.
People survive out here.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you got to remember, heat exhaustion, our mental state is rapidly declining, right? Fast. So if we were in perfect health and hydrated and food, we might have been super calm and cool and collected in this situation. Right. But being starved, I mean, at this point, we're like 8 hours into this hike. I mean, it is taking forever. And what was supposed to be an 8-mile hike,
it was like 13, 14.
Yeah, it ended up being, I remember looking at my watch, it ended up being longer than LeConte.
This is insane.
And finally we're hiking, and we get back to that point where we saw like the telephone poles at the beginning.
Oh my God. The joy in that moment.
Oh my gosh.
My
God.
Just like we were back on the trail at like kind of the beginning of it. And
right.
It was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. That was a feeling of relief that is very hard to put into words.
Yeah,
I think
like we're gonna make it out of this.
Yeah, and it's all of a sudden that last reserve of energy that you have just kicks in, and we're like happy, kind of euphoric, going to the car at that point.
Still on bear watch. Obviously, there was still probably 45 minutes of like hiking down.
Right. But this was very easy trail. Yeah. It was well kept. There were signs. We were back where we needed to be. So.
Man, I've never been so happy to walk into a parking lot in my entire life.
Right. I remember The best part of all of this is we get back to the parking lot and there's a soda machine. And I think all you wanted was a Gatorade.
So bad.
And you're over there and you're trying to put money into the machine and you're yelling at it.
No,
and it doesn't work. I mean, yeah, that thing's probably been sold out since 1992.
Yeah, it was like, are you shitting me?
But we made it back.
Yeah.
We made it back to the Subaru. And that was certainly, I remember the collective sigh of relief that we let out when we got back to the car. And it was just like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah,
dude?
we never really unpacked it. I mean, I think you drove home. I fell asleep. I knocked out for the entire ride, and I woke up when we were pulling back into the house. And man, that shit was traumatic. When I immediately walk in the house and I turn around and I went to the grocery store and I bought 5 pints of ice cream. Remember, I made the lime sherbet freezes.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right.
I smoked like 3 or 4 pints of Ben and Jerry's. But yeah, dude, that was a rough day. But looking back on it, and I think we knew in the moment, we were like, that was a wild day. Yeah. Like we were hunted, bro. We were hunted.
Yeah, and it was a test of mental fortitude.
Yes, it was.
I think above all else, it was a life or death situation. And I don't know, it's hard to describe what it really felt like without being there. You know what I mean? Because there's so many factors at play and so many things are starting to turn against you.
Right. And you rarely, feel helpless in the society we live in, kind of. Like there's always people you can call on or whatever.
Right.
And like, man, it's speaking of sobering experiences.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
I mean, can you imagine being on mushrooms and all of that going down?
Absolutely not. That sounds like a nightmare experience.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, we were kissing the concrete when we got back into Atlanta. It was a scary day, and I think it took a couple days for me to kind of come down from that. And I'm definitely the type of person that will have an experience like that, and I'll kind of laugh it off in the moment, but then it takes me a while to process that stuff. Man, it took me a couple of days to decompress from that and be like, remind myself, okay, we're safe.
Yeah, we're good.
There's, very lucky that we're running water in our house. Yeah. Like we have what we need here. And
right.
It kind of felt like we were going to die at some points of that, man.
Actually,
it was not fun.
It reminds you that like nature you can't really fuck around. You got to be prepared. Yeah. Like you got to, I will never I don't care if I'm hiking in my backyard, bro. I'm going to have bear spray on.
That's right.
From now on, like I'm going to have, tons of water, electrolytes, like everything I need. And I'm going to bring a raincoat.
Bring a damn raincoat.
Yeah, and that's it.
Would you say those are your biggest takeaways from all of this?
I mean, be prepared if you're going to go hiking. I see a lot of people hiking that just aren't. Dude wearing Jordans and shit. I mean,
they're not usually doing the strenuous hikes, but there's a certain level of gear acquisition that is corny and kind of silly that you're like, okay, do you need all that? But being over prepared is, I mean, think of the alternative. Like we learned the unfortunate truth of that at Tallulah Gorge, and it's worth the money to buy bear spray. Yeah, it's worth the money to buy this stuff that's gonna protect you and keep you safe in those situations.
And the backpack with the water reservoir, that's huge. If you're going on a full long hike, like just to have that extra water.
Yeah, and having not only water but electrolytes too.
Yeah, I would argue a compass maybe.
Yeah,
that's. I mean, like I said, if I didn't have that map downloaded,
right? Yeah, so that one of the biggest takeaways here is get all trails.
Yeah,
and download the map.
Yeah, because running out of service is almost always a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Like plan, hope for the best, but plan for the worst type of thing. Right. And always do it with someone else. Yep. Don't ever hike alone. That's so stupid.
A lot of people hike alone.
I mean, if you're hiking,
I don't love the idea of hiking alone.
No, me neither. I don't even think that going for a super easy hike alone is a good idea. I mean, animals are scary, but people are scary too, man. Right. There's some fucking crazy people out there. Yes, there is. Always use the buddy system when you're out in nature, man. Yeah. And nature will humble you very quick.
So fast.
There's a deference that you have to have towards nature. A deference. It's like a humble submission and respect towards something. There's a deference you have to have towards nature in order to have a symbiotic relationship with it when you're in it. Right. You have to respect where you are. You have to understand your own limitations and understand that it's more than likely going to throw a lot of challenges at you.
Yeah. You're a visitor.
Exactly. You know, I think that is maybe the biggest takeaway here.
Right. You are, I mean, you're not entitled to anything. The world doesn't owe you anything.
Right.
And when you step into that environment that you're not accustomed to being in, like you need to respect it. Yeah. Like that's a big one. So
yeah. Mama Grizzly Bear doesn't really care about how many followers you have.
Right.
She'll eat your heart.
You'll still catch these paws, dude. Yeah. But man, we got to get back out there.
We do. Yeah, what are you thinking for the next one? Do you have any ideas?
I do. Yeah. I think we head up to, I heard there's some sweet hikes in Virginia. I'd love to get back to the Smokies.
I know. I think I would be down to do LeCount again on a clear day.
On a clear day would be great, man. Yep. Be great. And we'll be prepared, more prepared.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. To the hike.
Plugging it to the hike.
I'll drink trees. I'll drink to that, bro.
Sir, brother.
The banjo music is crazy. And that's the story. We went camping.
Yeah.
We went camping and we're going to continue to go camping.
Absolutely.
And shout out to REI.
Yeah.
This is not sponsored by REI, but we did go there to buy a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And I appreciate the birthday gifts, bro.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everybody what you got?
Cool stuff. My roommates got me, Aaron and Zoe, they got me a cool like multi-tool thing. Mm-hmm. What's the thing it's called?
Yeah, a multi-tool.
A multi-tool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then a life straw.
Mm-hmm. I honestly should have bought one for myself too.
You should get one.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. It might be out of water and you might need to hit the creek, bro.
Hit the stream.
Yeah. And then you got me. We didn't even tell the story about the firewood. You got me some timber like shreds for fire starter. Mm-hmm. That was a joke. I laughed out loud because when we were in the Smokies, it was fireproof firewood. We couldn't get the firewood going.
It must have been super freshly chopped, honestly.
Yeah, and we didn't buy the flammable stuff. So lighter fluid. So we struggled. But
yeah, we threw pages of my journal into the fire.
Yeah.
We threw just about a paper towel. I mean, we tried to get that fire started.
We fucked up the environment a little bit trying to get it going.
I know, it's kind of embarrassing. We're sitting here talking about these stories of us going camping and like giving camping and hiking advice, and we couldn't even start a damn fire.
We're rookies, but we'll get there.
That's right.
And then you got me a map of Zion, which we're gonna hit.
That's it.
We're gonna hit.
That's in the future. Hopefully, we'll have another episode about that. Yeah. We can recap Zion and Bryce.
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Episode 1, man.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure, bro.
It's been real.
It's been real.
I'll see you later, dude.
Later, bro. That's a wrap. Bang. That is a great ending.
Woo! Good job, dude.
That was fucking awesome.
That was fun.
That was fun.